Hello and welcome. We are absolutely surrounded by brands every single day. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what exactly is a brand? The answer seems simple, but trust me, it goes so much deeper than just a name or a logo. And if you're someone who's curious about how the world really works, do me a favor, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell.
To really get to the bottom of this, we have to start with a really fundamental question. What is the actual difference between a company's legal name on a document and the identity that it projects out into the world?
And here it is. The answer is both simple and honestly pretty profound. One is a piece of paper, a legal asset that a company can own. The other is an intangible but incredibly powerful idea that you, the consumer, own inside your head. This is the story of how we got from one to the other.
So, to truly understand what a brand is today, we have to rewind the clock. And I mean way back. Because the journey from a simple mark burned onto an animal to a global cultural force is just fascinating. You know, the word brand itself literally comes from the act of branding cattle, burning a mark on them just to show who owns them. Purely functional. Then fast forward to the Middle Ages, and it evolved a bit. It became a craftsman's signature, a mark of origin that was basically a promise of quality. But the real game changer? That happened in 1876, when Bass Ale registered the first ever legal trademark. That set off a chain reaction that led to laws like the Lanham Act in 1946, which basically built the legal foundation for the modern brand.
So what did that legal framework actually create? It created the trademark. A trademark is a legally protected piece of intellectual property. It can be a name, a logo, even a sound or a color. Its main job is to uniquely identify a product and, this is the crucial part, defend it from being copied by anyone else.
And this right here, this is the most important distinction we're going to talk about. A trademark is something the company owns. It's a tangible, legal asset on their books. But a brand? That's something the consumer owns. It's an idea, a feeling, a perception that lives in their mind. A trademark is about protecting ownership. A brand is about building a reputation. Here's the key takeaway. A company can legally own a trademark, but it has to earn a brand.
Okay, so if a brand is this idea that we hold in our minds, how in the world do you go about building one? How do you take a simple legal mark and turn it into this powerful identity that people actually connect with on an emotional level?
The legendary advertising genius David Ogilvy absolutely nailed it way back in 1955. He said, "The product is the body, but the brand is the soul." He came up with this idea of brand individuality, arguing that it wasn't enough to just sell stuff. You had to give your brand a personality, a character, a soul that people could actually relate to.
And building that soul is a surprisingly rigorous process. It is not just some creative flash of lightning. It starts with defining the company's deepest mission and values. Then you describe what the product actually is. Now, step 3 is a huge reality check, legal research. Get this step alone often wipes out 80% of the potential names. 80%! Then you have to do linguistic checks to make sure your great name doesn't mean something awful in another language. And only then do you test the last few options with real people.
And as you go through that whole methodical process, you're usually aiming for these 5 things. A truly great name is short, it's simple, and it's unique. It's got to be easy for people to say and remember. And hey, if it's alliterative, think Coca-Cola, PayPal, that is a massive bonus for making it stick in our brains.
Okay, so you've got your name, you've created an identity, you're done, right? Not even close. Now you have to enter the battlefield. And this battle isn't fought in stores or online, it's fought inside our own minds. This brings us to the brilliant concept of brand positioning. I want you to think of your mind as a landscape with very limited real estate. Positioning is the art of finding one specific, empty plot of land in that landscape and claiming it for your brand. It's all about defining what you stand for, not in a vacuum, but in direct comparison to everyone else out there.
The guys who pioneered this whole idea, Al Ries and Jack Trout, put it perfectly. They said positioning is about finding a window into the mind. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room, it's about being the smartest. It's about finding an unguarded opening, a little gap in perception, and then owning that space completely.
And this really gets to the ultimate goal of all of this. When a brand is positioned perfectly, it actually makes our lives easier. We are bombarded with choices every single day, and a strong brand becomes a mental shortcut. When you think safety, what car brand pops into your head? When you think search, what website do you go to? They've done the work to make the decision almost automatic for you.
So what happens when a brand actually wins that battle for our minds? Well, that's when it unlocks a truly staggering amount of value. This is the point where a simple idea transforms into a massive financial asset.
Take a look at this number, 15,000%. What on earth is that? That is the stock price increase for Harley-Davidson since 1986. And that didn't happen just because they built better engines. It happened because they built an identity, a community, a tribe. People weren't just buying a motorcycle. They were buying into a powerful idea of freedom and rebellion.
And here's another example that is just wild. Back in 1988, Philip Morris bought Kraft Foods for $12.6 billion. But the actual physical value of Kraft, all its factories, its equipment, its inventory, was only about $2.1 billion. That means they paid a premium of over $10 billion, more than 6 times the company's physical worth, just for the idea of Kraft, for the reputation that name held in our minds.
And this isn't some weird exception. For so many of the world's top companies, their single most valuable asset is something you literally cannot touch. The intangible value of their brand equity, that goodwill, that loyalty, that reputation, is often worth more than all of their tangible assets put together.
So, how does this all come together? We've traced the evolution from a simple mark to a powerful asset. But in our modern world, brands have become something even bigger, something far more significant.
Now, this quote from back in 2001 might sound extreme, but hear me out, because it captures a really deep truth. The most powerful brands in the world today are not just selling you a product. They are selling you a sense of belonging, an identity, a set of values. In a way, they offer a belief system that you can subscribe to.
So, let's just recap this incredible journey. A brand starts as nothing more than a simple mark of ownership. Then it evolves into a distinct identity with its own personality. It then has to fight for a unique position inside our minds. Once it secures that position, it becomes a multi-billion-dollar financial asset. And at the highest level, the most powerful brands actually become a part of our culture, shaping our choices and maybe even our values.
And that really leaves us with one final, very important question to think about. The next time you reach for a product on a shelf, just ask yourself this. In a world full of these powerful, carefully constructed brands, are you the one making a choice? Or, in some small way, is the choice being made for you? So, the crucial point here is that a brand is so much more than a logo. It's a story, it's a reputation, and it's a powerful force in our world. If you found this breakdown valuable, please give this explainer a like, and let us know in the comments which brand fascinates you the most. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more.